Well, it was like a classical way of my agent calling me, telling me that the Darden brothers wanted to work with me. I was more than surprised because my experience as an actress and the fact that I've worked in the United States and that I've worked with people who was kind of unreachable for me in my mind, like Daniel Day-Lewis. I mean, I won't give the list, but the Darden brothers were in a very special case of unreachable, like a locked case of unreachable, because they usually work with Belgian actors and actors who had a different journey. My journey took me to a lot of places with a lot of directors, a lot of genre. I mean, I'm not, I never exactly know how to describe my kind of self compared to the people they used to work with. So I'm always struggling a little bit, like more experienced, but I don't think it's more experienced because they work with experienced Belgian actors too. But anyway, not like a personality, I don't know. So for me, it was not even a dream to work with them, even if I more than admire. I mean, some of their movies are in my top 5. And when I say some, it's that it's already like almost 2 movies in my top 5. But it was not a dream because I like to have dreams that could happen, you know. They were totally locked and reachable. So when I found out with my agent that they wanted to work with me, I was kind of in shock of surprise. Well, I was intrigued by them choosing me. And before reading the script, I was thinking, first of all, the first thing I thought was, will it be in another place than Seraing, which is the city where all their stories took place, all their movies. They were born in Seraing. And I thought, well, maybe it's going to be elsewhere. Maybe it's going to be different. And I was kind of worried that it would be different because I admire their cinema so much. And I really now that it was not unreachable anymore, I really wanted to have like the same kind of experience that what I experienced as an audience watching their movies. I wanted to go to Seraing. And I went to Seraing. And when I started reading the script and I saw that it was really like in the vein of what they do, I was overwhelmed with joy, and I felt that it would be an amazing experience. I connected with her. The difficulty was that basically she has the same thing to say 10 times. So I was kind of scared, but I thought it would be an amazing experience finding the evolution, finding the slight details that will create the whole and that will keep her in movement, even if she goes to see people and tell them almost the same thing. But then, because it's almost and it's not the same thing, in the tiniest changes that I had in each scene, because they are amazing writers, the brothers, I could start to feel the confidence that would go up and down, and everything that I could build up from those little differences, and all the subtle things that I could, build. And so it was very exciting. Well, most of the time when there's like kind of a challenge or a difficulty, I'm very excited. So we worked for a month. We had a month of rehearsal. We went to all the locations with the actors, even with the costumes sometimes. That was the first time I experienced such a process of rehearsal. It was really, really interesting because we didn't, it was not rehearsals for acting. It was to find the dynamic of the scene, especially when, maybe you can tell me that word in English that I'm struggling with, plan séquence. Yeah.
Plan séquence.
Plan séquence. So I don't know this word in English, and it's kind of hard already to explain when it's a very technical thing, but every scene is only one shot. So you gotta carry on from action to cut. And it has to be in place and everything has to be perfect because there won't be another angle that will allow you to cut this in two if the beginning was good and the end was not. Everything has to be good. And I had never worked like that before. I mean, I had like some part of the movie that are like in plan séquence. I'm really sorry, I don't know this word in English. But the whole movie, it's kind of a challenge. It really is. But at the same time, what was really interesting was that you have to have a lot of imagination to feed your character. But when you have this dynamic, you have to have more imagination because let's say, take 50, you used something that you created in your mind to feed your emotion or what you have to do. But then you get tired of this idea, so you have to have another one, and you reach like take 70, and you're tired of this one too. So you have to be like, you have to have a boiling imagination to keep on going in a way. So we were talking about the rehearsals. I don't know why I went there, but then this month of rehearsal was focused on the dynamic of the camera and everything. It was not focused on acting. But then, of course, you do your own cuisine. Especially that one of the first requests that they had was they asked me to get rid of my French Parisian accent, which means that you have to replace it by something, because we all have an accent. Or I would have been like a robot, like talk like that with no accent at all. But so I thought, okay, get rid of my Parisian accent, get rid of my French accent. So how will I speak? What is like a French regular, no accent? I didn't know what it was. So, and also, it takes place in Seraing. And all the actors are Belgium. I didn't want to take a Belgium accent because I've always been super disturbed in a movie when I see a French actor taking a French accent, exception of Daniel Auteuil, because it's almost like in our conscious and unconscious, like that he's Ugolin, and so it's not disturbing. But so I thought, well, what do I do? And also, if I'm not very good at accents, even if I worked on a lot of them, but I always work with someone who teach me how to do like Polish or Italian or Midwestern or whatever accent I need to work on. And I had never worked on an accent on a French language. It was always English. I didn't want to go to see them and ask for a dialect coach to have like a Belgium accent. It would have been it was out of question. So I started to listen to them, to listen to all the people I worked with, and all the people I worked with, most of them in the crew are Belgian. And I started to pick little things and to create a rhythm and a melody, which is an accent in the end. But that was kind of difficult. You know what? It's funny because I told myself two things. No. Not that I told myself two things, but the first thing is, it's the first time I'm working with directors and I'm asking them things about their movies. And I had a lot of questions about their movies. And I was there and I couldn't help myself. So I had a lot of questions. And the second thing was, what do I say about their very special world? Because I don't want to say too much. I want to talk about them and how great they are and how great the experience was. And I have to say, the greatest experience. Everything was perfect. It was a perfect ideal. What can I say about, the thing that I can say about them that was surprising for me, not surprising from them, but surprising because on a set or during rehearsals, when you talk about the audience, most of the time, the director doesn't want to talk about the audience, doesn't think it's the place where we can talk about the audience. If it's not there, there's no place, actually. And I remember one day I was on set with the director and I said, yeah, but the audience there, and he blew a fuse saying, we don't care about the audience, we don't talk about the audience. So it was like, and I felt that most of the time they don't want to talk about the audience. And when we were rehearsing, the brothers were talking about the audience, and I was having a smile, and I was kind of happy seeing them talking about the audience. And then suddenly Luc turned to me and he said, oh, we talk a lot about the audience here. And of course they do. The audience is so important for them. They will create a scene, a script for the audience, to take them on a journey for the sun, for example. They exactly know that they're going to take you on a journey for half an hour and you will think that this boy is Olivier Gomes' son. And then suddenly, it's like an American twist. It's brilliant. And they talk about the audience because everything they do is to take them somewhere and to surprise them, to make them feel something super special. That's why I love their movies, and that's why I loved working with them.